language, so which is directly from image or perception to the action. So that's what we call word action model or direct video action model. So this is believed by many frontier labs, which they believe that the robot can learn enough to be general enough by just learning raw videos without any language abstraction. But the problem is such kind of video is like not there yet on the internet. So let me show you like what such kind of video looks like. So this is some videos that the robot can actually learn. From the human's egocentric, you have to extract the hand pose, object pose, and also like how the camera moves. In that case, the robot can try to predict and try cross-embodiment learn to its own end effectors. And you have to learn from so many different environments, like different scenarios, so the robot can be general. Long story short, like today's model is we show some scaling laws promising, but it lacks data. Yeah, so when it comes to data, like there are different types of data. First is teleoperation, where you operate the robot with some controller. You do one step, the robot copy your movement. This is the most accurate one, but it's really rare because operating a robot is not that there are not many robots to be operated. Then like coming down, like we have people holding a gripper to collect data, just like what Sunday Robotics doing. This is called Umi style data collection. This is more scalable, but the problem is still limited by hardware. What I just showed you in another page is called human video. A robot can learn directly from human how their hand moves and transfer that to their grippers or dexterous hand. This is much more scalable, but the thing is, it's less accurate because you don't have the ground truth. And the last but not least is simulation, which like you can run in some environment virtually and repeat the task millions of times. But the problem is with simulation is really different from the physical world, where the physical law and all other corner cases you can't really simulate in the simulator. So this is like most scalable, but there is a huge gap. So overall, like today, like more than 99% of the raw data cannot be directly used. It has to be processed like this. This is what we're doing. So process the raw videos into like a robot learnable format to help boost the robot learning iterations. Yeah, so last question is some hot takes. I will go through it really fast. First is, besides vision, actually tactile is another important source. Just like most of your actions, you can do that without opening eyes, right? Just with your fingertips. But this part for robots is really hard because today's sensor is not mature yet, and we don't have enough data. And the second hot take is people think maybe 99% like success rate is good, but actually for most industrial pipeline, 99.9% is abysmal. So, but iterating every night takes a decade in the past, from our past experience. So that means it's still a long way for robots to be fully deployed across all industries. And the last but not least is today, like you see fancy robot hardware or model companies, they got huge tech factory, so surrounding, supporting like tooling infrastructure, they are really undervalued. But this part is really critical for the next, you will want to scale up the robot. In the very end about us, so what we do is we index from like all like raw human data around the world, which is noisy and stable. Like we build an automated data pipeline that can generate the high quality structured robot trainable data sets. So our clients are like robot companies like here, it's only a little small. And also for those who deploy robots, we also fine-tune the robot model for them, for their deployment. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. And this is my personal link for OnX and LinkedIn. Also my email here if you want any like business collaborations. If you want to just grab a copy, feel free to. Okay, now I think I'm open for questions. Go ahead.
Do you?
Yeah, we have 5 minutes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I caught time really.
Just a quick question. So you mentioned, part of robotics is vision, machine vision. So do you do like signal processing, image processing algorithms as well as part of what you do?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So like this is a processed result. So the original input is just a human hand with just a regular camera, but we infer this 3D hand pose and camera pose, so which we have like a bunch of like computer visions and image processing.
Next question.
I heard that Tesla used FSD to train a robot, but how did they do it? Because it's totally different mechanical. And also they mentioned about the FSD has a long tail, which is the last 10% probably take a long time to close. Do you have any suggestion how can we close those kind of things?
Yeah, well, very good question. First, for FSD, I don't think it can directly train a robot model, but I think they share the same foundation model. So just like, so everyone use the WN as a video generation. And for the second question is how to cover the long tail. That's a very good question. And that's where the simulation cannot cover today. And that's the reason why we need so many human videos, which like million levels of hours are needed. So you can think we index or we collect all possible like human behavior and how they handle like different objects to cover like all kinds of corner cases. And another way is like when you do robot evaluation, it can fail, right? Because they try to pick something and it drops. In that case, like that failure recovery is also part of the data that can handle those long tail after annotation.
I believe you do data cleanup.
Yes.
In the process, do you need human intervention?
Yeah, very good question. So yeah, so traditionally people like such companies hire a lot of people to do cleaning, but for us, we only have 4 people in total, and we automate basically everything from cleaning to annotation to like augmentation. So with all like algorithm and the help of large language models.
I got a really quick question.
Yeah.
So in that human like 2 hands in that short video clip, who generated this original video here?
Yeah, so these are like the data vendors worldwide. So they may be factory owners or they be just like studios. They hire people to do collection, and they will get paid by hours for recording that footage.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's what I understood. So I guess the media has a big like team doing the simulation video.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is really competitive against the simulation because pretty much simulation is a kind of a really cheap to generate.
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, the simulation issue is if you see these small parts, those they are really subtle. So in today's simulation, they can hardly like simulate the like complex physical interactions in this part, in like all these videos. So you can think they are complementary. So for the robot training, it needs also simulation, also these real videos.
So last question.
Yes, you mentioned there are 4 types of models. Which one of them is your data refinery serve?
Mostly 3 and
4.
4. 3 and 4.
3 and 4. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, thanks Chris a great presentation. Next speaker will switch the topic to talk about also another big problem we are facing. We'd like to see if AI can help us reduce some of the legal problem in the US. So our next speaker is the CEO of
circuit launch.
You know, they are
Because they
actually
do a lot.
I like
they
it.
like to build a lot
I
of
have
things.
heard
They do a lot of robotics. Those 2
their
places there.
presentation. So
Yeah, you should check those
they are
out.
using a very smart way using AI and using that can help not only client and be more familiar with legal problem, but also help the lawyer.
Chris, what is your last name? You have a
And
card?
help their clients.
Connect you on.
Hello everyone, my name is Leo Liu. I'm a California lawyer. Have been started for many years in legal firm and in private practice. And my co-founder and I, the CTO, worked together last year to think about a solution to help everyone to get a more affordable legal access. Because traditionally in the US it has been very expensive for everyone to get legal help. There's different organization there. There's pro bono requirement for lawyers to work on some subject matters for clients, but that's very limited. And we prototyped different ways to try to help. We started from founders because founders are my primary clients over the years. And initially we started a voice agent, 24/7 taking calls for clients to, get legal help. We use technology to help clients get instant call back and answer from our fine-tuned, models with intelligent legal answers. And we compiled about 1 million, lawyers in private practice in the US to help client match with the right lawyer, because a lot of the current solutions on the market are just selling software to lawyers. They are not actually helping clients. And we adopt a different approach. We use two entity structure. One is tap and tell AI to develop the technology for AI native law firm, Parthenon Law, to directly serve the client. And at the same time, we cannot serve different areas of laws. We have a huge network in the US to help the client match the right lawyer, because at the end of the day, you sometimes still need a lawyer. Sometimes, a lot of people come to me, okay, they can get some question answered from GPT or Claude, but a lot of times you have to have a representation and get matter resolved, and negotiations always part of the dispute resolution. That's why legal is quite expensive over the years. So yeah, and beyond expensive, there's other problems in legal law firms. I used to work in legal law firms, charge too high. A lot of startups in the Bay Area have to absorb the cost, because the investor has counsel, you have to have counsel as well, and the founders have other legal concerns like the immigration, IP, and employment issues. They have to talk to different lawyers to get that resolved, and a lot of times the founders just skip those and mess up later on, because sometimes there's some irreversible problems for them to correct. Sometimes, for example, there's people rely on too much. I try to get this brief, because if I talk about due diligence, M&A, term sheet, there's too much. Just I want to have a brief presentation today, so we can always connect later. So for very fundamental questions, there's entity choice. Sometimes founder come to me with the LLC or some California corporation. They want to raise money. It takes a lot of time to convert to Delaware C Corp, and they obviously they tell me they rely on GPT or other information online to make decisions. And because once you get hand holding from a counsel, sometimes it's easier to get everything straight. But before that, there's a lot of mistakes you can make, and founders they have not set up the right terms for the co-founders and the tax 3D tax filings within 30 days of the purchase of their stocks. Usually, the VCs just want to touch briefly. The VCs only invest in C Corp because they want a QSBS treatment. There's RS section 1202. There's huge incentive for startups and founders, which is sometimes overlooked. It's about right now. It's about 50 million federal capital gain tax exemption for original stock purchaser for holding for over 5 years. There's a huge incentive for VCs and some investors and founders to take the risk to do the startups. So only C Corp can satisfy that. Some founders want to start it with S Corp, LLC. They works initially for as a pass-through tax entities, but they obviously have to convert to meet investor due diligence request. So those are some basic mistakes you want to avoid early on. So, but in terms of how we leverage technology, we have a backend Tap and Tell AI to serve our AI native law firm to provide that service and product to the clients directly. And we see a lot of my clients moving from big law firm to us with 50% cost reduction and 30% up to 50% efficiency improvement. And some clients move from big law firm with me. They see a lot of efficiency improvement. But we didn't choose to sell the software directly for now because we want to improve that internally because legal is security sensitive. We want to make sure everything works well for our firm before selling to other firms. Although we are working with other firms as well, but we choose to serve clients directly with lower cost and fast turnaround. So yeah, sometimes clients sign term sheets and have a funding strategy. I just want to touch briefly. You always talk to a lawyer. Those because technology alone is not enough. You have to have people in the loop, professionals in the loop. So I just briefly talk today. So I want to maybe connect with everyone so we can discuss how technology shapes the legal industry, and happy to take questions, and happy to connect and talk afterwards. Thank you.
So the slides already in the Google Drive, so you can easily to find the connection there to connect with a lawyer Leo.
So you're focused on legal services, but that's closely connected to doing, the basic accounting for the firm because you have to file the annual reports with Delaware, whichever state it's incorporated. So does this software also send reminders or do any accounting tasks to help keep track of equity and expenses and annual reports, things like that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's certain overlap between accountants and startup lawyers. For that part we cover, for example, Delaware franchise annual tax. We of course send reminders and even help most of the clients to do that. But for very specific, balance sheet reconciliation or whatever, accountants, wheelhouse stuff, we work with our partner accountant to help the clients to get those covered.
Next question.
Hi Leo, it makes perfect sense to use AI to speed up the legal case, especially you have a direct to consumer facing of your business, not only just serving lawyers. The question I'm asking is, I'm doing similar things in the clinical and wellness domain. Then I realize the customer acquisition cost is way too high. it's not about the technology. Technology works, but that will kill the business. So in your case, in the legal business, how do you get the customer and how do you control the? I think you have ways to extract long-term value from the customer, but how do you deal with the initial customer acquisition cost? Also, the startup founder, they do it once. They do it once, and it's not like I'm creating a startup 10 times.
Yeah, I totally agree. We started to sell to different law firms, and we, with our software, it was difficult to sell to law firms to change their workflow. But once we changed our direction to serve the clients directly, this thing totally changed. We actually to small B, like startups, but sometimes we have immigration and patent practice. There's a certain element of 2C part, but most of our clients are like growing. They have growing business. Their contracts gets more and more complicated. Their investment size gets bigger and bigger. Their investors get more and more cap table gets more and more complicated. And coming from a big law firm background, I have my own clients. You kind of have to establish your goodwill. Like do connections like this, and it takes time. But for us, right now it's actually a capacity problem. There's clients take us too much time. We try to find the right people to scale up, company. So I think we will have that problem too. So initially, just take some time to.
Leo, I remember you are a lawyer.
Yeah. And I have a huge network in different areas of law. So we initially build a product to help clients connect different ways. Because every day, every moment, people have issues with family law. They have, want to do estate planning. They, have neighbor disputes. They have contract, debt disputes. So I connect with them with our voice engine. But if you guys know me, talk to me, I connect you directly with the right person. That might be more efficient. That's our goal here. But I do.
Yeah, I have this question because I know you are a lawyer, so you originally have your client, you have the channel reach the potential client, and the AI help you make your job more efficient.
Yeah.
Make
right.
more business, if I can say that.
Yeah.
Make
Exactly.
no case, sorry.
Yeah, but right now I would say it's 2x, 3x improvement. They haven't reached like 10x, 50x. That's our goal. So because you still need your attention. There's but you can hire more people.
Next question. If no, then I think that the previous, if you are interested about the previous two speakers, we will let speaker in the kitchen, and you can approach him to do more discussion. So we are moving to the next speaker, Larry. I think we love Cloud, but it's also have a problem how to manage that, right? So naturally, if we can use AI to manage that, will be perfect. Our next speaker, Larry, will show us what's their solution.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. I'm Larry, the founder and CEO of Parsemo. So today I'm going to introduce Parsemo, the world first agentic AI for cost optimization. was due for the public cloud, new cloud, and GPU data center. In the next few minutes, well, I will clear one thing, and the AI infrastructure spending spiral out of control, and the AI agents are the only way to fix a scale. So let me define us in a sentence. So Parsemo is an agentic platform that continue observe reason and action to eliminate the wasted AI infrastructure spend across cloud, new cloud and on-premise. So our platform help the enterprise to cut AI infrastructure spending up to 70% and save thousands of engineering hours. We certified by the FIA Foundation, and our products are listed on the AWS Marketplace and the Aero Marketplace. Here the market reality. So in 2025, the global AI infrastructure spending has reached 1.4 trillion and is projected to hit 3.2 trillion by 2030. So 30% compound annual growth rate driven by the importance of AI usage. The problem is more than 30% of resources are wasted. So where the cloud and AI spend gets wasted, so it's across 3 layers: the token, data, and infrastructure. First, the token and model layer. 80% of token usage is unnecessary, is according the end user reports. So agentic AI burn more token per task and repeated the prompt. No caching, oversized models, and bloated content all drive views up. So with no visibility into who spent the word. The next is the compute and the GPU. Utilization are run just 30%. And idle and over reserved GPU, no slice priority. The hardware could deliver more higher for the throughput. The third is the infrastructure resources. The idle instance overprovisioning without rising, low saving plan or reserve instance coverage. The code data on hot storage is so expensive. So like a single petabyte can cost $250,000. What's the challenge? There's 3 challenges. No autonomous control and out-of-date tools. The old tools cannot for the AI agents area. So no action. The recommendations cannot save. So time is everything. So in 2025, AI data centers topped 400 billion. Now CFO and the board, they all ask where the return and how to save. So the massive investment comes with massive wastage, and the leadership now demanding merit return. 70% of enterprise run across market environment. The manual optimization is impossible at scale. Agentic AI, so our agents run 24/7. Eliminated CPU, GPU wastage, no idle work, and no specialist needed. And so we deliver ROI in 3 months. In one line, the board demand ROI, and the agentic AI can deliver it. So a quick word on technology part. So the agentic system is driven by 3 things: model, token, date, and compute. They all run in one environment, the cloud. And for example, so AI agent software is calling the model interface and accessing data through the data warehouse. They break or Snowflake, and also they need the compute storage and networking. I believe more money. So like the 80% token consumption is unnecessary. The 1 terabyte data costs a quarter million, and for infrastructure, the compute from 30 to 70% resources wasted. So our solution is typically from three types of agents. Monitoring agent, reason decision engine, and cost action agent. So how it works is deployed is unbelievable fast, just a minute, not monthly. Only 3 steps. Step 1, connect to run a very simple script. Connect to AWS or Azure. We only need a read-only permission, 0 risk, just under a minute. The second is observe. The agent can scan 40 more plastic dimensions, compute, storage, and GPU utilization, pricing models. It's also in 5 minutes. The last step is just agent autonomous exactly optimization, right siding, clean idle resources, and adopt a saving plan. So no human in the loop required. It's continue to generate the savings. So here is our products. I'm going to run this short demo. It's pretty simple and will be live. So here, for example, so we type the question here. Sorry, so small. How much about the master building 2026? The multi-agent on our platform start running. Define the stage and fetching the account. Also query the billing, and then it generate the chart, the reports. The spending breakdown from different services, and also you can check the components. And for people in different roles, so like the different persona, like CFO, procurement, or some financial accounting, they need to know the cloud spending. Non-technical staff who want to know the money, how much is spent and how they spend. It's just into the natural language, and they'll give the result. So the second demo is automatically generate the exactly cost optimization procedures. When the technical staff they decide to optimize, they don't need to write code. They don't need to learn how to optimize. They simply approve the execution by our agent. Then it automatically generates and clean the wastage and the AI resources and save the cost. So our product is not only save customers money immediately, but also save engineering 95% of the time. So just go through the natural language, just input what you want in our chat, and the AI can exactly the agent. So it show the catalog of the listing and show the total here. And the only thing for the end user just click and apply. You'll be running and clean. our next is the token ops. Which basically targeted 80% of the token problem mentioned earlier. Like the news coming up, Uber CTO revealed that the company burns through its entire 2026 target for the Cloud Code and Cursor. Just the 4 months was gone by April. So the CEO couldn't tell that usage actually consume facing benefit. Spending for individual engineer already reached 500 to 2,000 per month. And so the customer don't have very clarity how money is being spent on tokens and how many tokens that each person consume per day, or is this token usage reasonable? What technical and method can be used for save tokens? So we improve the API management and optimize token usage to cut costs and increase efficiency. So we have the prompt compression, caching, model routing, content optimization, risk limiting. Those measures will help to optimize the token usage. Okay, so let's look at the real result across the actual products. We achieve an average 30% savings. The case one is a customer is a virtual carrier. The cost reduced by 36% over 107,000 saved annually, and the saving plan reservations coverage from 0 to 71%. The second case is the mining company. I mean, their infrastructure on Azure Cloud. So we helped them to save 30% on 1.3 million annually, and they adopt 100% of reservations coverage. The third is a large e-commerce platform. The cost reduction 35% and 2.45 million savings. So, and also the 53 instant right size. This case study is my favorite AI startup. Around 3 million annually AI spent, and we complete end-to-end on board, the diagnose and optimize in just 3 days. The result is 38% in actually ABAS saving. The GPU utilization raised from 60 to 90%, and quick executive just 3 days. The day one rapid onboarding and no agent deployed, no change of production. The key point is 2 token. One is fragmented cost visibility. The second is GPU scaling issue. The second, we unify the spend view, identify 41% saving opportunities, and the customer spent 3 hours, just a quick win, and 38 saving realized. The third is by the rebased GPU slicing and priority value scaling lift utilization from 60 to 90%. So the main saving leverage, the compute save about 80%. The delete unused resources contribute 9%. The S3 tiering, intelligent tiering, it contributed 8%. The S3 life cycle priority policy, it contributes 4%. So this is our vision. We optimize for 3 things: token, data, and infrastructure. The Parsemo Agentic AI optimization platform central on 4 dimensions: cost, performance, reliability, and scalability. We cover a full range of environment, public cloud, data, and tokens. So that's the direction of Parsemo. So our business model is our revenue, we offer 30 days free trial. We charge 3% of annual spend. So professional engineer services charge 20% of savings. So we contribute 900 ROI to our customer. This is our team. So I'm the CEO and founder. I'm 20 years technology guys background. Our CEO David, he is AI expertise, and our CTO Chris is the FinOps expertise. So this is our Accelerator team. So we have a very highly advanced team. So all industry IT top guy who can help us to open the doors to our key customers. Like Damon Fletcher, he was the CFO of Parthenon, and Hamilton, he was the Nextech CEO, and also some from Google, from VIP team. Okay, so thank you for having us.
Any questions?
Yes, thank you so much for this talk. I have 2 questions. One is on your value-based pricing. How do you convince customers to take up that approach to get a cut of how much you save them? I've heard that many vendors are trying to do some kind of value-based pricing, but they've had trouble demonstrating value created. And the other question I have is, how do you handle liability of the autonomous agents, perhaps shutting off that's critical? How do you have a conversation with customers?
Okay, so first question is we have a payment management tools, and so we offer 30 days trial. You know, I mentioned there's 5 minutes we can calculate how much we can save for customer, and so the customer can adopt it and run it on their own environment, and they realize the saving instance. For the next one, the building come up, so it can just show how much we can save for customers, and then we charge 30% of savings. Sorry, can you rephrase the second question?
Second question was about the autonomous agents making decisions. What if there's liability around them shutting off? That's critical.
Oh, okay. So that's I know it's some just no need to human manager. It can run automatically itself. Some of them need the human make the decision. So we gave them the customer all of the procedure and the process, and also the script, the result, and the customer need to make decision. This need to clean or run or just adopt an agent.
So this reminds me of, I used to work in the data center industry and project management. So I was at Autonomy, I did a lot of this stuff. Back then the agents were scripts, shell scripts that would go into each server and go into system files and see what the usage of the CPU and the disk drive storage and all that stuff and give reports. But back then we didn't have cloud services. We had to see what machines were had issues. It had to be returned to the vendor, and then RMAs, and then we had to do capacity planning. So that leads to 2 questions. So you guys partner with these cloud services, so you don't have to keep track of the hardware as much, but just the usage. So you also provide services for companies that manage their own racks and their own private, their own hardware. And second of all, on the analytics side, do you do capacity planning? Do you look at trends and try to predict? Because when I was doing this each quarter, we had to predict how much more how much more server usage we had, and we had to work with the budget and purchase, you know, new servers so we had them available for growing businesses.
Yeah, so for some customers has own data center or data racks to manage their own physical servers. So for our tools, it only covers the public cloud, like AWS Aero Google Cloud. And so we could cover the data center parts. So we provided the hybrid cloud to manage the capacity. And you know, you need just store your own data center for your safety reason or the compliance. So some compute is running on the public cloud is easy to outscaling, easy to scale up, those scale down, right? So that's what we suggest the customer can just do the hybrid cloud.
Did you do capacity planning, like predicting how much, like for growing businesses, look at the trend and say, okay, for the next quarter, you're going to need more resources and this is the budget?
Yeah, so our tool has AI tools can just predict and forecast the resources for like the peak season, right? You need more resources, highly demand that bandwidth for the network. And also for your data management, like you back up a lot of old backup need clean edge. Yeah. So we have the tools to Agentic can do the suggestion to contribute the forecast.
All right, let's take the last question.
I think this is very important. You've made a very good contribution. But I also like to know how much did you contribute to the reduction of the explosive usage of the tokens? You know, what is your mode?
Okay, so for token usage, you know, like we have some like is token unit, and so some from 35% to 85% are wasted, unnecessary tokens. So we have some suggested or some optimize the methods as comprise the prompt and like the caching your prompt, also the content management, the routing for the model, and so for the normal token usage, we suggest use the cheaper models. They save the tokens, they save the money. Yeah.
Your mode?
No, so I think most of the public, like the Accelerator or OpenAI or Gemini, so overall we cover it, but we don't provide optimize for the like their own self-hosted models.
All right, let's thank Larry. The question is Linda from the LG Nova here?
Yeah, I can.
Yes. So yes, I have uploaded Youkai's file on the Google Drive. So I met Youkai not long ago and found he is energetic and very interesting people. And his company is also very helpful. So let him can share you how he and his customer are doing.
Okay. Okay, cool. Do I need a mic or do I not need a mic? No. Wondering, okay. So, hi everybody, welcome. And my company is actually serving non-technical people. So for non-technical founders, non-technical solopreneurs, or some people call them grassroots. And we've been doing this since like end of 2019. And today the topic is like, what are they doing? What are we doing? with AI. So just a bunch of examples. Okay, a little bit about myself. I'm the founder CEO of Moment, and we are going to be talking about 3 main groups of examples. What are the Moment customers building? How is the Moment team using AI to run growth and ops? And how is the Moment engineering team trying to incorporate agentic app building on top of a no-code application builder? So a common theme that you would recognize is that AI, as far as we are able to observe, is just one of the nodes in a bunch of workflows. These workflows naturally exist with or without AI. Some of them used to be non-profitable to pursue. Some of them used to just take too much time, as in even though the return is there, you simply don't have the capital to hire so many people, and maybe the risk is too high. But the idea is that the introduction of large language models is really the lowering of marginal cost of cognition, right? So things that used to be non-profitable becomes profitable because of that marginal cost going down. And for our customers, the biggest pattern that we have realized is that they're turning messy inputs into structured business data and realizing some kind of value there. I'll give 4 examples here. But the main way they're using it on Moment is that they have some kind of trigger that gets the data, and then the AI would generate stuff with structured output, and those things will get written into database, and they will fetch some stuff. Some of them will fetch some stuff from API calls or feed whatever the AI has generated into a third-party vendor, and then some of them will incorporate a little bit of human in the loop, and eventually you get the completion of the workflow. First example is Pocket Chef. So that is actually built by a high schooler. I don't know why he is into cooking, but he's into cooking. And then he once asked me, Yao Kai, have you ever run into the problem of flipping through cooking? Actually, I'm into cooking too. The cooking videos, these recipe videos and tutorials. Have you ever been cooking and trying to go backwards and forwards in these videos? I was like, yeah. And he's like, okay, is that annoying? I'm like, sometimes. And he's like, yeah, I'm really bothered by that too. So his idea is he's going to turn these videos into words and pictures. So he does basically, he turns them into recipes with the actual amount of ingredients you need, and then into different steps, and each step becomes words plus pictures. The picture is just a crop of the video. And he's incorporated a bunch of marketing themes, and he's trying to do that in China. I don't know how he's making money, maybe he's not, but he built it in 10 days or so. I thought just very interesting, we used to want videos as tutorials, and now we're going backwards. So turning videos back into words because of the efficiency of consumption. Okay, second example, the guy calls himself a minute collector. He's actually a he's a private equity fund manager as a day job. But he's also an avid sports card collector. So initially, he built a thing for himself to track which cards he has for different collections. Apparently, there are millions, at least 6 million now, of these cards in the world. So I'm not in the card collecting world, but it's kind of surprising to me. So then he started opening up that to his collector friends, because a card collector will have card collector friends. Once they get on board, then the problem becomes, okay, now we want to trade, He's like, all right, I'll add trading. And then they want to do grading because there are minimum order quantities for grading. Now, most people don't have 50 cards to grade at one time, so he becomes a reseller of grading services. And then they have like group buys and they have like drop shipping and all that stuff. But he's a single guy, right? So what happens with a single guy and 50, he actually has like close to like 57,000 users. And when they send stuff in, how do you manage the logistics? So he wants to automate it as much as possible. How do you recognize which card that is? Initially, he tried just using a large language model to directly predict which card that is, but that's very hit and miss. He already has curated a 6 million large SKU list, so he has all the pictures. So he's stored a bunch of stuff in his database. So what he did was, once he got a scan, I think he got like a 3-4 level AI. So the first level of the AI narrows down like the first category, and then he does a RAG in the database. So the second level has like, for that particular category, has like maybe 100 or 200 entries. That goes into the second agent with the picture, and then picks out the second one. So that goes like, you can imagine it goes like 3-4 levels of cascading selection. Eventually, you will get a SKU match, and out of the, well, this one says 5, but it's now actually 6 million. Out of the 6 million SKUs, you'll pick out the exact card. It is surprisingly accurate according to him, right? But that is one of the ways he's able to sustain sanity and efficiency while dealing with 60,000 potential customers. Okay, these are actually 2 in 1. One of them is a restaurant, and that restaurant is in a weird limbo of like full digitization and half handwritten stuff. So the owner is old and does not want to change, and he has a tablet with some kind of point of sale system on there, which tracks, which very helpfully tracks like how much money he makes in a day. So the revenue is tracked, but he doesn't know how much money he's spent because all the stuff that they buy is actually just coming from the wet market. So it's handwritten notes and stuff, right? So then he wants a single question answered, but he doesn't want to pay for a person to do it for him every day, which is, how much money have I actually made in a gross profit per day? And the guy actually, not himself, he's I think his son or something, built a thing for him. Basically, he would take a picture of his POS machine, and then the employees who's buying stuff from the wet market would take pictures of the receipts and match it up on day, and then he has his report. So there's like a tiny use case. And the others, this one here is a part-time auditor. So she's a retired person. She used to be an accountant for a hotel, and then she's now retired, and she found herself a gig to do like auditing. So she is also a licensed like auditor, so she like hires herself out. So prior to this, she was spending, according to what she told me, about an entire day to essentially manually enter all the auditing material, basically receipts and like bank statements and stuff like that. So what she built was an ingestion of PDFs and images that goes into her database, which is already built in the format of an accountant. So she is an accountant. So you got all the credits and debits and different accounts in there, and then she just reviews them. So that has significantly cut down the time that she spent per audit from like a day to 30 minutes. That's her own words. So that's like, I think the part that becomes the most valuable is fewer human translation from one modality to another, right? So the first modality will be like pictures and PDFs. The other modality is stuff in database. I think this is probably the last of the examples that my customers do. So this guy works in Waymo, and he also has a side gig of teaching people how to do interviews. He calls himself a career coach, but mostly just like an interview coach. And he obviously has a day job, and he's also kind of busy, so he's like, I don't want to do too much customer intake work, so he built this. Actually, he built two things. One of the things is, given like which of the fangs that his customer wants to apply to, he has the rubrics. And then the code, you just enter your code according to the question, and then the thing will give you an evaluation. Because he has the actual rubric, don't ask me how he got it, but now that becomes a lot more accurate than just a generic, like, how is your code. And the other part is these rubrics will get frequently updated, and then because of reasons, like, you probably don't want to copy and paste that and send it on email to yourself. So you're like taking pictures of that, and which is kind of shady. But that's so he took pictures of the rubrics and then just imported it using an AI back into his database. Within his database is basically like which company, which position, and what are the questions, what are the grading rubrics. I don't exactly know he does the behavior interview. I talked to him, I didn't actually do it. But I think one thing he told me, what he's waiting on us for, is the integration of the Google Gemini Live APIs. Currently, we don't have that. We just have an agent builder that has the multi-modal inputs and outputs, but no real-time stuff. Once that's there, I think he'll pay a lot more money to me. That's another thing. All right, so the next group of examples is like, what are we as in a team doing to use AI in our own day-to-day work? So we categorize into like three things. Like, we discover what people are talking about us, about our competitors, about their pain points, things we generally are interested in. So whenever a competitor is bubbles, so what we do is we put, did I put that there? No. Okay, but it's actually what we do. We have an agent that just goes on Bubble forum and looks at how his customers are hating them. So, you know, if you want to separate a marriage, you need to find out why they're arguing. If they're very tightly happy together, it's very difficult to separate that marriage. The same thing with poaching your competitors' clients. And the other thing we do is create. So creating content is actually surprisingly painful. I hate it, but it's also like a non-dispensable thing that you have to do. You have to write blogs, you have to, you know, when you do YouTube videos, you have to get a cover, blah, blah, blah. So how do we make that as the least painful? So that's something I would do. And then lastly, a bunch of mundane stuff that usually requires human intervention, like audits and stuff. So, into the examples. Content generation. Hey, by the way, if you want to see these, because these are mine, I can show you, but the customer's ones, obviously not, because it's their property. We have built a project in Moment that helps ideate and helps ideate based on a bunch of content that we already have. So what are the things that we already have? Past interviews, recordings of meetings, basic transcripts, and product philosophies, which is mostly stable, and stuff that people have, like the idea. So most of the time, AI writing is kind of bland and annoying, and it reads like watered down fluff. The reason is that you didn't give it enough content to go with, right? But once you have an idea and a bunch of supporting material that is unique to you, then even AI-generated stuff becomes more tolerable. Also, in this case, we never let AI take the whole, take free reign. What we do is, at every single stage, we want to change what AI outputs. And that's also how this thing becomes less AI feeling. We got from the topic selection to outline generation to SEO keyword discovery. So we built a bunch of agents. Each is responsible for one of the steps, and then we manually, we do the transfer, and that's by design. So the output of one agent goes into the next step, but during that transfer, we edit that input. Other things that are commonly very annoying is like picture generation, but nowadays we have like Nano Banana, so all we need to do is ensure that the generated image has a same VI, so that's also in there. For VI, you basically give an example picture, give some fixed prompts, and then a new picture to incorporate into it and some words. Fairly simple stuff, actually. And the other things that you have to pay attention to is the rules and then the different atmosphere of different communities. The stuff you write for dev.to should be different from the stuff you post on Reddit, right? That's basically the idea. Okay, this one's actually similar to what I just said about the bubble discovery thing. Well, actually, we do that on Reddit for Bubble too. There's a subreddit for Bubble. But the idea is that you want to find the pain points of people that are popping up nowadays, right? So the one that we are looking at now, other than Bubble, is vibe coding. So people are starting to complain about vibe slop, especially with non-technical founders. They'll get stuck, they'll get frustrated because of the back box problem with vibe coding, and that's one of the things that we want to capitalize on. So we basically give the agents like a list of topics to search for and corresponding criteria, and then we get notification every day, actually I think more than every day, about like who's complaining about what, and those complaints are tied to our product, and that informs our marketing colleagues to decide what to write on next. In terms of audits, when you have some kind of promotion or some kind of campaign going on, we would hand out rewards to people. For example, and then also for education, we also have like an education discount. So for education discounts, we would check a bunch of their materials, and then for promotion, we would also check their actual posts. For example, if you write a Xiaohongshu post, we'll give you certain credits, and that's checked by an AI. Oh, that's this one. I'm running out of time, so I'll go on. One last thing is the patterns we're realizing is AI is useful for sensor evaluation, generation estimation, and routing. And there are examples for all of them. Okay, thanks.
Hi, I know your company is doing the no-code type of program, right? So could you show us how this will look like?
Yes, I can show you.
So what it's talking about how people can use this tool to realize, right?
Oh, that's actually dev. I was just working on this. I'm finding a non-dev. Okay, here. That's one, and then you can see, for example, this one here. Oh, sorry. So for example, the moment assets is the one that generates all the marketing material. This may look different from the dev thing because this is like production with older UI. You get like a Figma like front end. We typically say we're like a three-way marriage between Superbase, Figma, and A10 or stuff like that. So the front end is all built in here. You can see we have the template cover, blog outline, blog content, blog reviews, TGKs, and blog illustration. Fake JYK is what, well, my name is Yao Kai Jiang, so fake JYK is what my employees built to mimic how I speak. I don't know why they would do that, but that's what they did. And that's a database for this particular one. You can see fake JYK has its own knowledge base. We have all the standards for different copies, and then this one is fairly simple. It's like you need certain things, and you have a copy translator and stuff. APIs are the things that you can import. So we would find keywords, SEO keywords coming from Ahrefs. That's one of the SEO optimizers. So from there, it will help us decide which are the easy keywords, which are the popular keywords, and blah, blah, blah. And you have a bunch of other imported ones. And the action flow is where you would orchestrate your logic. And I think one of these, yeah, for example, this one is generating five images for a blog cover, so you can pick one, right? Because even though image generation isn't that cheap, 5 images it's still less than $1, so it's much cheaper than having a human to do it. And you can see a bunch of other stuff. Some of them are marked as test. Yeah, so that's the idea, and these are the agents within here. Different models, different provider models, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, so that's the product.
So I believe probably elementary school students can begin to play with that.
We do have elementary school students who build things that are very useless, but working.
Yeah, so it's and also because I have moved two of your file on the Google Drive. If you are interested about that, I think it's designed for even non-tech people can using this make a useful thing and even make money from that, right? So
yeah, its main thing is to make money because I don't believe in making toys unless you're a primary schooler. But like most of our customers use us for something that's productive. Usually they're trying to build something online, and this is where it's like the tech stack for the non-technical.
Yeah. Let's thank Yokai. So I believe because he is very serious, right? So when I tell him that we have 20 minutes, I believe he's trying his talk. So I will let him go to the kitchen, and if people have more questions, can ask you there. Our next talk from the LG Nova, when they come up to do the setup, I can tell you why we got LG Nova to give a talk. As I told you that CIE will host a very big event September timeframe. This is a UI Asia American Engineer of the Year award, and one of the awardee will come from LG, and not me, but one of the committee member go there, talk to the awardee, and know LG actually have a very wonderful group. It's a LG Nova that it's not doing the traditional LG stuff. So I will let them tell you more about what they are doing. That's a welcome Linda from LG Nova.
So my name is Linda, and I'm from LG Nova, and this is my colleague Erin. She's actually the head of engineering at LG Nova. I run marketing and PR. Oh, I run marketing and PR for LG Nova. So as Simon introduced ourselves, we are a unique group within LG, and I'll go through what we do for LG itself. So LG Nova is a team within LG Electronics, and what we do is we're their innovation arm. We're working with the ecosystem to build startups, ventures for LG, for them 5 to 10 years down the road. So this is who they will eventually become if we're successful. And so our job is to really launch new businesses out into the world with partners with the entire ecosystem, from startups all the way through distribution partners. One of our focus is that we are building for LG Electronics, but really where we're going with the ventures that we're building is focused on AI first, and that comes from our corporate background. LG Corporate has what they call their ABC strategy. AI, biotech, and clean tech, and those are the 3 areas that LG Nova focuses on, is how do we build for AI first, how do we build healthcare applications using AI, and then also how do we build for clean tech. And so what makes us unique is that we are a venture studio approach. We start with an entrepreneur in residence. They come up with an idea, they go out to the market, and they look for startup partners to work with. They then develop those ideas within a couple of months to really just test out viability, test out feasibility, test out whether or not there's a market fit for the product, and then we start to build it within the market itself and start to try to drive revenue for the actual venture. We partner with outside venture capital. They fund that idea because we want to make sure that the ideas itself are well feasible and viable, so we use venture capital to test out our ideas with them. And then we also fund any potential, or we make connections for any partners that partner with us, the startups that partner with us, for funding as well, for them to potentially get funding through our another third-party fund that we work with. We have gated approaches to then launching that business into the market, and it usually takes us about 6 to 9 months to do that. Alongside that, Erin's working with them, and I don't know if you want to jump in here, but Erin's working with them on building out their particular product.
So we have a little bit of a unique approach here at LG Nova. We support the engineering team at LG Nova kind of supports the engineering efforts of ventures. A lot of the times we'll be doing feasibility tests, prototypes, and we're just trying to get as quick feedback as possible. What we're generally observing in the market is that completeness of build used to be, I think 10 years ago, a reliable signal to investors for the viability of the company's future, and we're just seeing that that's not the case. With AI kind of making it easy for anyone to get up and running very quickly, investors are now looking for other signals, and that primary signal is revenue. And so here at LG Nova, we're just trying to build stuff to quickly see, is someone willing to pay for it? Is someone going to buy this? And so that's kind of what we focus our efforts on. We moved really quickly to and iterate tons of times over the course of those 3 or 4 months that we incubate these projects. So.
So going back to our innovation program, as I mentioned, we have multiple stages which our ventures go through. The opportunity definition, the POC planning, the integrated market and business validation, the venture activation, and then seed investment to get them started. And that's when we start to hope to see that they can earn revenue. And then full investment and to give them their first investments to be able to run their business independently of LG. Once they become independent, they run as an independent business. We continue to own a share of the company, and the head of our team, the head of our unit is on their board of directors, and so he helps manage and gives them direction and guidance. But this will then have the fully support of LG behind it. Alongside the innovation process, throughout the process, we're looking to work with everyone in the ecosystem, from funders and VCs, all the way through to universities, as well as we have a number of partnerships with different states. One of our big initiatives is with West Virginia. We're helping them to build an innovation hub within West Virginia, and that actually gives us access to businesses in West Virginia that really want to build around AI and build and grow around innovation and technology into their economy, as well as we're working with Arizona and Nevada. They actually fund part of our business as well. So some of the business ventures that we've launched 4 so far. We tend to run about 2 a year. Our goal is to launch 2 a year. The first one that we've launched, the first one ever that we launched was Prime Focus, and they're about 1.5 years old right now. And Prime Focus is a connected care platform that allows doctors to keep tabs on folks that have acute and chronic illnesses once they exit hospitals. And so this is for rural healthcare in places like West Virginia, where the hospice facility isn't nearby. They go home with an application that the doctor can take care and make sure that they're reading their vitals, making sure that they're following their exercise programs, making sure that they're on their path to getting better. Relief AI is a mental health care application, AI driven, where we're working with therapists to give them technology that they can then give their clients to be able to record what's going on in their daily lives, so that therapy can happen based on what is really happening throughout the week versus once a week when they're sitting down and talking to their therapist, where they may or may not remember what went on during the week. OnVibe is a marketing platform for small, medium businesses. They take in your social media, your Instagram, and they publish content for mom and pop shops, so that mom and pop shops can participate in the online economy and get more customers through their social media. And then Palo AI is a workforce orchestration platform that really works with data centers to optimize power usage and create more distributed energies to power more compute. And so these are the businesses that we've launched. We are continue on the track. We have a number of seed businesses that we're working on, and we hope to launch them in the two per year. And then, so this is my last slide. I see Simon looking at me. This is just a call out to anybody that is interested in learning about LG Nova and what we work with. We're always open to getting new ideas in, so that we can find ways to collaborate with our process for building new businesses. That's it.
Okay, great. So if you are a founder, startup, or you have an idea, then remember LG Nova is here in Silicon Valley, can help you. And
Right.
will you give me the file and can share it with
Yeah,
the audience?
absolutely.
Yes, great. So you will get the contact information in the Google Drive. Any question? You have too many.
Too many,
No
yeah.
question. I have a customer, United Health Insurance, and they probably looking for this project, so you can communicate with me.
Okay.
Yeah. Any question? Yeah, Simon?
Thank you for introducing LG Nova. The four examples you have shown are all in software. It just happen to be that way, or you guys largely avoid, especially small consumer hardware business combined with software?
So it's purposely that way. One of the things that we talk about where LG Nova is focused on is LG Nova is building everything but what LG is already in. So we're not working on their traditional businesses. You know, they're hardware focused. They're building consumer goods. We don't innovate in their areas specifically. But one of the growth areas that we see is in software, and so our focus has been purposely in software because we think that there's an opportunity there. Other questions?
How about in wearables?
Wearables would be, we would work with wearables, and we work with mobile phones, but we build in software, so you could partner with us if you are a wearable, but we wouldn't be building hardware for launching a business to build hardware.
Yeah, I think that if you're interested in have more discussion with Anita or Erin, then can be in the pitching and continue the discussion. Thank you. Thanks. So before we move to the IBM, I take this 1 minute share some of the things I'm doing. So yeah, some of my friends may know I travel back and forth from Taiwan and the US, and I met many great engineering teams in Taiwan. And I'm looking for partner or people can help in connect the US as some of the software or AI project, and then the Taiwan's engineering team to work on. So I'm looking for people, and we're also thinking can using AI to help people who don't have a software AI background, but can act like this engagement manager's role and talk to potential customer to find projects. So if you are interested about that, after the event, please come to me. And next, also I'm helping Taiwan's company have a domain-specific AI tool. It's particularly useful for manufacturer, for semiconductor or some of the time sequence model, but I help them to build up the US market. So if you know or your company have this kind of problem, then come to me after the event. Yes. So then we move the also next important half of this event is IBMs will demo their new AI agent platform, and the name of this agent is Bob. It's very easy to remember name. So they also have a group of people come to us and to do the demo, right? So I believe they have 4 people come here. All right, so it's Bob.
Great, thank you. So my name is Jim Bush, and I'm with IBM. I've been here 35 years this last week, so just celebrated that. So a long time. I've been here in the Valley the entire time, getting to see it go up to what it is today. So I really appreciate being here and being invited. Auntie has assignment for many years doing developer engagements, and so she asked us to come speak about Bob. And as you know, IBM, again, I've been with IBM for 35 years, but You don't hear about IBM in the Valley much. Of course, there's Google, Meta, all the different Apple. But IBM doesn't have products that users use very often. They're mostly Fortune 500 kind of products, mainframes, which is what Angie's mostly interested in. And so it's very rare that we get to talk to people about products like this. So I'm excited to be able to talk to you about IBM Bob today. And you can see I have an IBM Bob sticker. It's the only sticker I've ever put on a laptop because I'm really impressed with this. So hopefully I'll get to show it to you today. And we're going to be doing live demos, so live demos are always kind of fun and exciting to see how it goes.
And Jing, after this talk, you will share as a material, right?
Yes, yeah, we've uploaded it on the drive. So we're going to talk about I'm going to go quickly because these guys are going to actually do some really cool stuff with Bob. But introduction to Bob, I'll give a couple of demos, just some simple demos. Lessons learned, best practices, I'll go over very quickly at that. And then I'm going to hand it over to Ted, who's going to do the Bob shell, where you actually get the CLI and see how that works. And then Eho's going to end with the MCP and agent skills, which it looks like you guys have been working on for the last couple of months here, so it should be very familiar to you. And then we'll do the Q&A at the end. We can also do Q&A because we're going to be swapping our laptops out because of the demos, so we can do Q&A while laptops are getting swapped. So usually you have resources at the end of these presentations, but I'm actually putting the resources up front because I just want to show that with IBM Bob that there's all kinds of resources available for help. If you get stuck, if you have trouble, there's IBM Bob. Of course, all the documentation is external and available. There's Bob YouTube videos, all kinds of people making YouTube, how-to videos. Bob itself, whenever I get stuck, I can ask Bob a question, and I should explain what Bob is actually. So, how many of you use Claude Code or any coding agents? So you're familiar. So essentially, this is IBM's Claude Code. It's Claude Code under the surface, but we've added a bunch of IBM-centric type of add-ons on top of it. And so Bob itself, as part of this, can help you use it and learn how to if you get stuck, help you with Bob. So talk about Bob here. So what is Bob? Bob is much more than just like a ChatGPT. It has that capability built into it, but it's much deeper. It's a software development lifecycle partner for your business. It's available in IE mode and then the Bob Shell mode that Ted's going to demonstrate. And it's built around VS Code, so if you're familiar with VS Code, it should be very familiar to you. But IBM's added on to it, besides it being an IE front end, and they focused on that from the beginning. They have a lot of additional IBM-centric items in it, C++, Rust, JavaScript, RPG, COBOL, things that, especially the mainframes and Z-series that you would need. Available in VS Code. It's coming on-premise soon, so if you have a company that you have HIPAA data, or you have data that you don't want revealed out in the cloud, either to IBM or to anyone else, you can run this in fully and be able to be assured that you're not losing your code base, you're not losing your proprietary data. Launched in October last year and GA'd in March, and is available globally and end of April. So essentially what Bob is allowing us to do is, and allowing me to do, I'm an IBM manager, but I'm also a developer, but it's allowing us, instead of writing every line of code, it's allowing you to be essentially like a conductor or like an architect of the code. So it allows you to write code very, very fast. It's also coming to Z-Series. They have a enterprise developer plan for Z, where you can use Bob, and it is helping modernize your applications, streamline, and make it all secure so that it runs well on your mainframe systems. And for the Z-Series pack, it's going to have architect mode for Z-Series and a Z code for Z-Series. So right now, the Bob that I have only has, it doesn't have the Z-Series pack, but when this comes out, it'll be Z-Series focused.
How many people knows about Z? IBM Z?
The IBM mainframe.
Yeah. So probably over
90% of financial institutions and all the large airlines and all these large corporations still running on the mainframe. And if you guys thinking about AI, and we all heard today, it's about data. And there is no single platform that can process the amount of data and the transaction as fast as the mainframe. So the mainframe today is still as much relevant as anything else. It's continuing to reinvent. And most of the people also cares about sustainability, right? Environmental issues. So if you think about a data center, a single mainframe represents hundreds and thousands of individual servers that you have today in the data center. So the cost of power, facilities, environmental, all these things. So that's why mainframe after 60 years, I think, is still around, right? People said that mainframe is dead 20 years ago. It's not. AI is going to be one of the key applications that the mainframe is going to be able to help. So that's why we're talking about IBMC, right?
And then I wanted to mention how I use Bob myself. I've been using it since January or late January. And of course I use it for software development. I use it to visualize complex data if I have a CSV file. I can use it to filter things. So I have a really complex CSV file. I'm trying to figure out, I want to see just certain things with it. I tell Bob, I explain to Bob in natural language, here's the CSV files, here's what I want to see. Give me all the good data in green, give me the bad data in red, or just allow me to filter certain things, and it does it very quickly and very, very efficiently. One example I had is I had a PowerPoint presentation all ready for a conference, but the conference was asking for a nice little abstract. And I'm like, oh geez, I'm gonna have to summarize my whole presentation. And I just said, heck with it. I loaded up to Bob using eHome's MCP agent with Dockling, and it read it in and then summarized a really nice summary of an abstract of my presentation. And then I also asked it, can you give me some catchy names? And it came up with 6 different names and with reasons why each one of them would be a good choice. And going with choice 3, we'll see if it gets accepted to the conference. But it made things very easy for me. Of course, it can summarize verbose documents, and you can get it down to just 2 or 3 points that you're interested in. The other thing that I used, and I did this with Angie with her laptop. We're all Mac users, but she's a standout, a Windows user. So we were trying to get her running with Git, and Git wasn't running on her laptop, and I was frustrated because I don't know the Windows server. Does it have some type of application install agent, or how do you do it on Windows? And so I just asked Bob, we need the Git program. How do we get it on Windows? And Bob looked, found that it wasn't on her laptop, went in and got it, installed it, and we got it running very quickly. So it was really nice. So I use it for all kinds of error messages. If I've got a blurb of error and I don't understand it, or I want to understand it more quickly, I just paste it in Bob, and it comes back with a really nice readout of what's happened and what you can do next. I'm going to do a live demo and get out of here and see if it actually connects into the network here. You can see this. So the way it works is it works via folders. It's working right on my laptop, but it goes out. This is a Bob that's not on premise. It's actually in the IBM cloud. But what I have it running, I have it on a folder. Everything that gets created is on a folder, and you can control Bob. What do you want it to read? Do you want it to read your whole hard disk, which I wouldn't do. It would use too many tokens. But I have it just look into one folder, and you control everything that Bob does. So right now you can see it's pretty small. I'm sorry for this, but these are permissions. I allow Bob to read everything in the folder that I'm in, but you can have auto approve. It's hard to see here. But I can't have auto approve. Let me get it back here for read, write, execute, things like that. But I don't personally want Bob to do that. I want to watch what it does and approve everything. So I just have it do reading. So we can go ahead and this is the ASP mode. It has various modes at the bottom, so I'm currently in Ask mode. In the very bottom, and this is more like a ChatGPT mode, so you just ask it questions and it'll come back with responses. The other modes that it has is code. So this is where you're doing Python or Java or something like that. If you're in the wrong mode, it'll detect it and say, hey, do you want to move over to code mode? More recently, since I've been working with Yihong on some of the MCP agents, I've been going to advanced mode. And advanced mode essentially is almost like all the modes all combined. And there's also orchestrate is another mode that's kind of have all the modes combined. One other concept I'm going to show you before I hand it over to Ted is the Bob point. So Larry was mentioning that it's very important with spend on with the GPUs and the tokens that you don't go too crazy on your expenses. And with Bob, you get a quota. So my quota right now is 250. I'm sorry. You see, my monthly budget is 250 right now, and so at the end of the month it resets. So for tomorrow, I think it's June 1st, it'll reset, or is it Sunday? It'll reset to June, or reset to 0, and then I'll keep going back up to 250. You see, right now I've used 183 Bob points, and a Bob point is about half a dollar. So right now I've used about $90 in this month. And this is the most I've ever used Bob so far, as far as my coin usage. That's about it that I'm going to show you with Bob. I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Ted, and he's going to show you the Bob Shell, which is the non-IDE version of Bob here.
Hi, Jim. A quick question about the machine. So you can control, he can read certain directory, right?
Yes.
And is that these controls come from ID, mean a software type of permission or the language, right? So to tell the language model say don't look at the or don't do something.
That's a great question. I think it's based on the folder that the operating system is controlled. The LLMs in the background, that's one advantage or disadvantage, depending on how you look at it. They sell it as an advantage, but you don't actually see the LLMs that Bob is using. So they claim that the marketing claim is that it uses the right LLM for the right task. So if it can get by with a small LLM, then it'll use it and it'll keep the costs down versus a larger one.
Thanks.
Thanks. I'm going to go over Bob Shell. Cool. Yeah, so what is Bob Shell, right? So Bob Shell is essentially Bob, but without the IDE features. And it's designed for the terminal. So like if you work on terminal a lot, this would be very helpful. It's got the same capability as the IDE, but just without the IDE feature. It's got interactive mode or non-interactive mode. In the interactive mode, it's just like you can have a conversation with the AI and resolve your problem inside your terminal. For the non-interactive mode, it just runs as a regular command. It doesn't interact with you. It's just one command and produce the result you want. Use cases, for me, there are two main reasons I would use it. First reason is I like to debug application inside a very minimal or restricted environment. Those environment, there's no desktop in the environment, and it's not very practical to install IDE either. So, but with Bob, I can just install it with a couple of commands, usually just one command. So it's useful that way. Then I can start debugging my application, have a conversation with Bob, and have Bob debug, and then test the application right inside my environment, where all the dependencies are there and all my environment variables are there. So it's very efficient that way. For the non-interactive mode, this is mainly for automation. So it just runs like a command, right? So like I can, this is very useful for CI/CD. Because in the CI/CD, you don't want to talk with Bob, right? You just wanted to do something. All right, so installation is pretty much straightforward. There are the supported system, Mac, Linux, Windows, and Linux.z. Installation, even with the most restricted system, the only prerequisite it needs is Node.js. Node.js, even if your system does not allow you to install Node.js globally, you can still use the standalone Node.js in your home folder and then make it available in your path environment. Install Bob with a single command. And for automation, I recommend using the API key. So Bob will not ask you to log in. So demo, I'll go over some interactive mode demo. And then I'll go over non-interactive mode. And then there's a special mode called Sandbox. Let's start. All right, so to start Bob, you just type Bob. So yeah, this is Bob. So first of all, you will see some helpful messages and some version. This is Bob 104, and this is like a tip of the day. You know, like it changes every time. And there's a sandbox mode disabled. I'll go over sandbox mode later. So, and it's always safer to start in the folder. Here, my folder name, because when you start Bob in the folder, it will not do things outside the folder usually. And then right here in the bottom is token, 100%. When I start Bob Shell, I have typically 200K tokens available. Here it says 100% because we haven't started anything yet. And then here is my Bob coin. I have used 164 Bob coins so far. And for this session, currently we don't have any Bob, we're showing 0 Bob coin because we haven't done anything yet. And for the mode, this is code mode. So code mode is where you usually ask Bob to write some script, right? And then, okay, so first let's do some demo, right? Like, if I just want to ask Bob some question, I can type slash. So the slash is like menu, like a drop-down menu, right? So in the menu, I can type mode, and then I can say select ask, enter, and then I can see that mode has changed to ask, right? So I can ask some question. You can say, hey Bob. Now Bob's gonna return you some messages, right? So now if you want to write some code, you can say slash mode. Code mode. So let's write some code, right? So write script. Shell script. Count 1, 2. Okay. It's very simple script, but you can ask for. I can ask you to write a game, but you write a game right now. But yeah, so first time, if it wants to write, it will ask you for permission. If you don't want it to ask you anymore, you can say yes, allow always. So now Bob wants to, he wants to show you the script. Okay. Yeah, that's one. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I mean, if you want to run shell command inside Bob, you can use the exclamation mark. Then you can type something, right? So ls, yeah. So here it shows count. So why would I do this? Because if you run shell command directly inside Bob, shell has the context, right? So it sees whatever you run. So Bob knows whatever. Bob knows what you ran, so you can do the next you can continue the conversation, right? So that's the point here. So then we can also refer to a file. Let's say make. When you refer to a file, you type the @ sign, make count.sh count to 20 and run it. So you make the count to 20. And it's going to ask me, okay, should I change permission? Yes. So now count to 20. Okay. Yep. So so if you want to save the chat, you can say chat. Save. Okay. Have a name. So you can save it. Yeah. So like if you quit like if you quit like that, you can restart it and then you can continue your chat. Typically, it would start a new session, but yeah, you can say chat, resume. So the chat is back, so you can continue too. And what else? So if you want to start a new session, you can also say /clear. When you clear the current token usage back to 0, reset to 0. Okay. So you can, if you want to resume a session, you can say this. And bubble list all the sessions. So this is done automatically. Right? So then you can continue resume session name. Yeah. So it automatically take a snapshot in the back, so you can always come back. Okay, cool. So this is the interactive mode. What about non-interactive mode? So it's also very easy, right? So you can say debug, and you can just type your prompt. Debug. So there's no interaction. Just use it like a command. So Bob answer. And if you want Bob to do something that requires read or write, then you can say, let's say for example, write Python script. And you just need to add this flag, YOLO. So Bob will not ask you for any permission. It will just write the script for you. But of course, inside this folder, do not go outside. Right. So now you got another Python that counts. Okay. So okay, so sandbox mode. So sandbox mode is a special mode. Sandbox mode is like if you are running somebody's code or you're doing something potentially dangerous, you can say sandbox. So Bob will start in sandbox mode. On the Mac, it's using the Mac OS seatbelt util. This is the Mac's default sandboxing util. So it's very restrictive. It's hard to do something dangerous. Like if I say, hey, if I would say, hey, install calsay on my system, it will not do it. It will say, oh, permission design, ignite. So this is potentially useful if you're testing somebody's code that you don't know this person and you're afraid this person this code may damage your laptop. This may help prevent something catastrophic from happening. Right? So that's the sandbox mode. Yeah. So that's my Bob Shell demo. So anybody have any question?
Shell mode is really cool, but why do we have to switch mode between task mode and the coding mode?
Yeah.
I'm using GitHub Copilot, and it's kind of annoying that you open VS Code to use it. but then I don't have to switch mode in GitHub Copilot.
Right. You know what? It's very simple. So I usually in advanced mode. So the advanced mode, it pretty much does everything. You can ask questions. You can ask it to code. You don't have to switch. I switch only because I only wanted to answer questions sometimes. If I'm in the advanced mode, when I ask a question to do something, it will write a solution usually. But sometimes I just want to warm up to answer some simple questions, and I don't want it to code anything, just simple questions. So that's the reason I use sometimes ask mode, sometimes I use code mode. If I want to use something more advanced, like I want Bob to review my code and push a PR, I will use advanced mode. So advanced mode is kind of like all features included, but sometimes I just don't want to do it. I just wanted to get some question. I don't want Bob to write anything or create anything. So yeah, hopefully that's the question.
So Ted, I have a really high level question. Because Bob is just a shell, right? And I want to know what are large language models behind the scenes. Has IBM come up with its own large language model, or do you use like kind of like a trendy large language models in the market, for example Gemini or DeepSeek or anything like that?
I'm not sure about this. I'm not.
Yeah, I
with
can answer. It's all black box under the covers. So there is some IBM Granite models that they have in there, and that's where they got it. Some of the IBM legacy type items, but there's also some of the Anthropic, Claude models are there.
Okay.
But it's unclear. They don't. It's all black box. They don't reveal what's underneath.
Even
so we don't know.
Even professionals like your guy put out.
Exactly. So that's one of the. I mentioned that that's one of the benefits, and one of the drawbacks is you have to trust it. In Watson X, which we also have done, you pick the model, and so you pick the model that works best for you, and there might be 40 different models.
I have open cloud engine, I don't do computer, so I have to pre-select which model I want to use.
So the benefit here is you don't have to select it. And the negative part is you can't select it if you wanted to. It's all
yeah, so it's a really
it's a great question.
It's a white shell, but black box.
It's a surprise to us.
Yeah, I have a question about the sandbox. So if you have a sandbox, why is have some permission that don't let you do something, right? So I think that because the sandbox, I can do almost everything. If you do something wrong, then just destroy that. Why is have actually give some permission not install something? Is that Mac OS thing?
Mac says this CBEL. It's Mac's default sandbox util. That is the way it's designed, be restrictive. But you can switch to Docker container if you want, right? So with Docker container, it's actually do isolation that doesn't affect any file other than your project folder being mounted to the Docker container.
Yes.
So that's the isolation. If that's the isolation you want, then you can specify to change it to.
So the Windows will using the Docker container to do the sandbox.
I'm not sure. I haven't tried Windows. Yeah.
So I can install and then try on my PC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is your the translation of all those functions like operations machine dependent? Because I'm using a GB10 and I can do a lot of those things automatically. So I was wondering what kind of machine are you using right now?
I'm using Mac, right? The Pop shell was running on my Mac, but I also installed Pop shell on Linux, right? So they understand you're on the Linux system, so you're on Linux on their own.
Maybe use a better machine.
Earlier, there's a question about why we need to switch the mode. I can add something more, is that it actually depends on your role in your company, because different people have different role. Like Jim is a manager, so that kind of capability is actually you can actually customize. For example, if I'm just a QA person, then I actually don't need to touch the code. So you in the Bob, you actually can customize in extra mode for you. You can actually combine maybe 2 or 3 modes together into an extra mode, and you can only stick on that mode. I think the purpose, that's another purpose of switching mode. Yeah. So let's get to the thing I'm going to talk. First, my name is Yihong. I work with Jin and Ted together, and I'm working on open source for almost 10 years. So IBM support open source a lot. So all of us actually just need, IBM has support open source a lot, and then IBM actually pick its own strategic project that he want to support, right? So I think that's very similar to other companies. So we are the army behind that we will actually join those open source community, try to contribute to the open source. So that's my daily job. So, and then here we go to 2 of the topic. And fortunately, I think after Simon introduced the study group earlier, I think they covered the NCP and agent skill. So, but here I will also go through them again, and it's just a bird's eye view. And then I will, the important thing is that I will show you how it is in the IBM Bob. So that's, yeah, without further ado, the first one is the MCP, and MCP is actually called Model Context Protocol. So it's a protocol that defined by Anthropic, and they already contribute to the open source community right now. And so, which means that it's actually very mature, and a lot of AI agent and tool adopt it already, and Bob is also using it. So the short version is that it just kind of API contract that the AI application that know how to talk to the external systems. So it's just like sometimes when we want to go to get some information, we'll go to some API call, right? So it's a similar concept, but in order to have the model or those AI tool to know what API I'm going to call or what kind of parameter I need to pass to the API call, they actually define some contract. For example, they have the clear documentation to describe what this API is using for and what kind of parameter you need to pass in and how many parameter, what kind of data type. So MCP defines this kind of contract. And so you can see, and it's actually bi-directional. You can see on the chart, the left-hand side is actually those AI tools, and the right-hand side are those external systems. Because, for give you an example, if you are doing some project and you need some data schema from the table, or you want some simple data from your database, what should you do, right? So MCP can define this kind of protocol. They call tool. So they use that tool, and model or those AI agent can leverage those tools and call those DB system or external data source. Then he can get those data and schema. Then he can use that to coding and or to compose the program to use those data. And the benefit of it, the first thing definitely is just like I said, it's an API, so it's a very good contract. So those AI tools know how to talk. So as long as you load the MCP server to the IBM Bob, for example, the IBM Bob, when you say, okay, I need to get a data schema from my MongoDB, then IBM Bob will know which API he need to call or which tool he need to call, and he will call that. And of course, you will ask for your permission, and you will get those data immediately. And the second is that it's a client-server architecture. So you just compose the MCP server and implement those protocols, those tools somewhere. You can set up a server within your company, or you can also run the server locally on your desktop or on your machine. Then everyone can call the tool and get those information. And the third one is real-time connectivity, so you can get the real-time data. Last but not least is open source, and it's not only support, like I said, a lot of different AI application already using MCP. So if you have a need, usually you can just maybe go to the internet and search and say, I want to actually get the Redis, I want to get data from Redis DB. You probably can get a bunch of different MCP server implementation. So you can just grab them and deploy on your server, then it's good to go. Yeah. So here is how you use MCP in a Bob. I can switch to the Bob ID. I'm using ID mainly. So you can go to the setting from here. You can, on the bottom right, you can see the Bob setting. You click on the Bob setting, you can show the Bob setting. And you have specific section for the MCP. The first one is actually you can turn on, turn off the MCP server. So you can complete. And then I will tell you why we have those features later on, especially this one. And the second one is very useful. You, like I say, probably because the MCP is very mature right now, so if you have any purpose, you want to talk to any external system, you can just search online and you can get it. But what if there's no such MCP server exists or out there, right? So Bob has that functionality that you can just describe to Bob saying, I want to talk to an external system. Here is the API, or maybe some other library, or go further, then you can ask Bob to create the MCP server implementation for you. Yeah. And there are two levels of the MCP server settings, because if you are familiar with the Visual Studio Code IDE, you know that when you open IDE, you're working on a workspace. But usually, for example, maybe like me, I need to work on, because the manager asked me to work on multiple projects, so I have to have IDE to open on different workspace. So the global MCP means that those MCP settings I set up here apply to all the IDE instances. And the project means that this setting only apply to the IDE that I open on. For example, here I'm working on a Presto data SQL engine project. So if I have the MCP settings on here, that will only impact this project. But if I have, for example, I have another instance here, so the MCP server settings on a project level is different. So this one will only, if I change any setting on project MCP, it will only affect this instance. Let me get back to this one. So those are the settings. And on the bottom, you can see has the green dot one is actually the MCP server that I installed and I enabled. So you can see I have 3.1 MCP server, and those are the one I almost use them daily. And underneath that, there are some Bob marketing MCP server preloaded, so you can just install it. Yeah. But one thing we just found out earlier is that because the IBM Bob we are installed is actually internal version, so within IBM we have our Bob marketing server. So the list you see here may not be the list that you see externally. So yeah, but because I'm only install internal one, so I need to install external one to verify what are available on the external. So and then I will, let me see what I put on the slides. Okay, so that's probably the thing I covered. And here is an example. I think it's a very, like me, I need to, because I work on open source, this is one of the examples that people actually open the issues or maybe request the features in the Git repository. Right? So my day-to-day job is that I need to go through those issues and then check for example, the issues or the features that the people describe in that issue. And then I need to, based on that issue, to implement the feature. That's my job. So in here, you can actually, because GitHub is an external system. So if you want Bob to help you to implement a feature, you definitely can type it, right? You can type the exactly content that described in the GitHub issue. Again, in Bob's prompt here, for example, you can just type the whole features, and you can copy paste the issues content from the browser to here. But you actually can leverage this GitHub MCP server, so you actually direct connect to the GitHub. So you can have this kind of you can say, hey Bob, I need you to help me to check out an issue, and you can give me the issues URL, and tell him that I need to look carefully of the issue and have the fully understanding of the issue and fully understanding of my code base. And based on that, can you help me to draft the implementation? And Bob will do these step by step and automatically. But the interesting part is that you can see your show in those steps that Bob is doing. You can see that Bob will call out the MCP server, and again, you will ask your permission. But if you like me and lazy, you can just, when you see this kind of permission, because I think I will see if that action is just read only. Usually I will just say allow always. But if that involved with some write access or post or put access, I will still need have Bob to notify me, and then I will do the judge. So let me show you one of the very simple example here. I think here. And for example, one of the example is that sometimes day to day is that we have some article, we see some article, right? And then we actually don't have time to look at those articles. So sometimes I will just ask Bob, saying, for example, like this one, I will say, can you get the content from this URL and give me a summarization? Because most time Bob will actually have that summarization right into MD file, but I will say, please just give me the summarization in the output input, and I can read through it. So then Bob will say, okay, I'll do it. And he start to do it. So you can see he opened the browser and he look at this page. I need to switch back to Bob because he's doing something. Apparently he already read through the documentation, the whole article, and then he start to give me the summation. This is actually an article IBM post several days ago. IBM sponsors and Red Hat joining force to support the open source security. Yeah. So that you can see is actually using the MCP server here to open the Chrome browser and open the page, capture the content, and give me the summation. Yeah. Okay, so the next one is the agent skill. So what is agent skill? I think again it's the bird's eye view. So the short story is the agent skill is that it's a set of reusable instructions that you can teach Bob to fulfill a process or workflow with consistency and repeatable. So why we need the agent? Again, because that process may involve with multiple steps. For example, my daily another job is that because I need to review other people's PR. But nowadays, people use code agent to generate PR. So the code generated is outpace the human review pace right now. So we have to adopt that. So I use agent to review the PR as well. But I use agent to do the first pass review. So he will give me the overview of the change of the PR. Is it good or not? If it's not good, then I can directly ask the author to address some of the issues my agent found, right? And if it's good, I can still redo those changes and then do the final judge. And you actually, because you define those steps very just one by one, so the agent can do it very consistently. And the third one is that you actually literally just enable the agent a spatial expertise, because we do a task or process with some specific flow and instructions. Your agent don't know it. So, but by defining agent skill and have your application to run it, you enable your agent with those skills. And last but not least, it's also open source standard. So the skill you define here, you can use multiple co-agent as well. So here is the roughly the structure how you define the skill. It's actually a spec, so you can look at online, but here is just a short version. So the main file you need to define is actually the skill.md. And inside the skill.md, it has two sections. The first section is called metadata. It's actually just name and description. And the second is actually the detailed steps and instructions. And if inside the instructions, you have some script that you want to use in those steps, you just put it onto the script. And also you can have some reference as this kind of. And using and enable it in the bar, but right now is we don't have the UI to control the skill right now. So, but it's also very easy because a skill is just a folder, right? So you just need to put this folder under the bar. If it is a global scope, you just put under your home directory bar on /skills, and each skill you put it under a folder. But if it's just like a project level, you just put under your working space. And how to use it? Again, Bob is very smart. If you like you see earlier, I actually because the screen is small, you may not catch it. When I try to use Bob to help me to do the summarization, it's actually used one of my skill already. So, but I didn't tell Bob to use that skill. But he knows that when I need to go to the website to crawl contents, he know I actually create a crawl URL skill. So you already apply it. And the second step is using MCP server to get the content. So it's very smart. So he will, based on your question, then he will know, okay, how many skills, because I will talk about that. And the usage, another way you want to if a list is to call the skill, you just /skill name and passing the needed information for that skill. And here is the skill MD. So, like I said, he has two sections. For the section is the metadata. So why Bob know what skill he need to use is actually the metadata section actually are preloaded into the Bob's context. So actually those skills are in the context, but the instruction is not in the context. It's called disclosure progressive disclosure. So he didn't know the instruction yet. Until he need to use that skill, he will load the instruction into the context. And here is an example how I use the skill. I can show you very quickly. That's my daily routine. I need to, because people sometimes have that kind of dependency upgrade PR in the repository that I'm working on, so I need to review those PR almost daily. So I have this skill to help me to review that kind of PR. It's not, it has I know how to review this PR, so I put the instruction in the skill. For example, because the dependency upgrade is actually related to some package upgrade. So checking those packages, actually I need to go to some website to actually see, okay, if the package is legit or how many changes inside that package, right? And also, right now there are a lot of third-party website hosting that help you to know that when you upgrade to a package from version A to version B, actually how many C CVE have been addressed or it actually have another potential CVE or not. So I need to go to those websites. So it's very tedious. So, but I have to do it. So I just write a skill and have Bob to do it for me. So here is another example. That PR I already reviewed and approved earlier, but I think I can go have the Bob to go through it again. So, and I think. See, this, because I don't want to confuse Bob, so I will directly just say, Bob run this skill for me. So you can see, he's trying to get that PR through the GitHub MCP, and then he will get the content. Then after he get the content, he need to get to, it's actually an NPM package upgrade. So he need to get the NPM package detail. So now he needs to open the browser. Let me see if the browser, yeah, browser is open. So he's trying to get in the needed information to verify how many changes in that package, in that versions. And like I said, he will also try to check some, I can just enable it. And then he will also check some, like I said, some third-party website. And then, yeah, he keep checking. So that's the skill. So those steps are actually written in my instruction. So he will follow those instructions and do the PR review for me. So he try to gather those information from the third-party internet, and get those information. I think it's pretty much done. Yeah. See. Then after he gather those information, he will try to analyze if there is any harmful, malicious post installation script in the package, in the target package or not. Give me a report. Then I will read through those final report and then do the final judge. Yeah, he will do this tedious thing for me, but I'm still will read through that report carefully.
Can you explain the token or the block points you see at the top? So it is using.
Yeah, I using for this task. I think I'm using two token. Yeah, so he actually go through those steps and finish, and then I will just need to read through the final report, and then go to the PR, and then I can approve or reject it or give some feedback. So I think, so yeah, that's the skill. So then summarize two of the features. So MCP and agent skill. So you can see MCP is actually a tool to talk to the external system. Agent skill is that you teach the agent how to do a certain workflow or process. And architecture is totally different. Agent skill is just a MD file. Architecture is actually, and MCP is actually client server architecture. The thing I want to highlight is actually the third one. So MCP server and agent skill, they work in different way when they used by these kind of agents. MCP is actually all the API that provided by the MCP server, all the documentation, all the tools, and also all the parameters details are actually preload into the context. So you know when we're talking to using those agentic tool, context is very important. Right now, I think Bob is 200K contact length. So it actually will, if you enable 10 NCP tools, those 10 NCP tools documentation API will all load it into your context at once. Once you start your task, you can see if your context, or you haven't typed in, you only type your single question, your single very simple sentence prompt, but your context maybe already preload 200K. No, 20K already. So that you need to be very careful. So if you only, that's why I'm sure. Do you remember the thing I showed earlier that IBM Bob has that toggle? If you don't need any NCP tool in this task, you can just completely shut down the NCP. So it won't load those MCP tool and API into your context. So you can save some tokens. And agent skill is, like I said earlier is actually called progressive disclosure. So you only load the metadata first. The steps, you can have a very lengthy step, but step won't be loaded into the context unless when the agent know that's the tool, that's the skill you are going to run. So you will start to load those instructions into the context and run it. So that's the important difference. So, and I think the others are just minor. So I think that's conclude all the features we want to highlight. So if you have any questions.
I'm Claude. Yeah, ask your first question.
Sure. Peer review. That's always the point.
Yeah.
So it seems that in your demo, at the end of the peer review, you have to put a person there to click the button. Oh, it's ready to merge.
Yeah.
You cannot entirely replace a human reviewer.
You actually can. Yeah, if your skill saying that when all the criteria match, please call
the MCP, GitHub API, as my name, approve the PR. You can do it.
I can do it, but is that safe? Is that 100% reliable, or is that just your visual thinking?
You are actually pinpoint very good question, because like I said, nowadays code generation's pace is outpace the human review pace. So it's actually I would say it's actually a culture shift. Do you believe the agent can review your code
entirely 100%?
Yeah, that's a good question. But like I said, for me, I only use it to do the first pass. So it give me the summation. I'm still judge the review. But I'm thinking, that's my thinking. Sooner or later, I think some of the easy PR, they probably can auto-prove by some of the.
Yeah, the tool always can do better than humans. Yeah, probably, yeah. Okay, yeah, that's my question.
So, I don't know if this is a relevant question, maybe I'm missing the point. But your directory structure with the Markdown files, that suggests you can create, agents that do specific tasks or write specific code. And then can you create kind of a library of different pieces of code that you can reuse and mix and match for different projects? Is that the idea behind that?
Are you talking about the skills structure?
Right.
Yeah. Actually, if you search the useful skill for the cloud bot, you actually can see a lot of people create a repository and share those skills already. And some of them are actually pretty good. So like I said, it's an open standard. So you can actually grab those skills you think they are useful and apply it in the bot as well.
And then reuse it for different projects and mix and match.
Yes, correct. That's the open standards, purpose. Right.
Got it.
Yeah.
And also very thanks everyone stay till so late, and thank you be with us with this great Saturday afternoon. And we will keep this place open till 5 o'clock. We have a volunteer will helping clean up something. I will ask all the speaker still here come up. We have a group photo. Yeah. You okay? Yes. Lee, yes. Who can take picture for us? I guess, yes.
He's tall.
Yeah.
Just be here.
go to AI later.